What if I told you, your greatest strength isn't how fast you react, but how still you can remain? In a world that glorifies outrage, rewards impulsiveness, and mistakes loudness for power, calm has become a rare superpower. True power isn't in the outburst. It's in the pause. It's in the deep breath you take when everything inside you wants to explode. This isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering the space between stimulus and response before the world decides for you who you should be. And today, we're going to reclaim that space together. 1. Recognize the emotional triggers that still control you. Have you ever wondered why a small comment can ruin your entire day? Why a bit of criticism makes your chest tighten, or a cancelled plan leaves you feeling worthless? Here's the truth most people avoid. You're not reacting to this moment. You're reacting to a wound from long ago. Every strong emotional reaction, anger, shame, fear, jealousy, is not just about the present. It's a messenger from the past. A flashback disguised as frustration. A childhood moment, unresolved. A rejection you never made peace with. A silence that once screamed louder than words. You're not weak for feeling it. You're human for still carrying it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's not just philosophy, that's freedom. Because the moment you begin to observe your emotional triggers not as failures, but as information, you stop being ruled by them. You take a step back and ask, why did I get so angry just now? Is this about today or about something much older? Maybe you grew up in a home where being wrong meant being punished. So now, any disagreement feels like an attack. Maybe you were constantly overlooked. So now, being ignored feels like rejection, even if it's not. The key is awareness. Not judgment, not shame, just awareness. When you start to track the emotional patterns that repeat in your life, you reclaim the ability to respond, not react. You begin to understand, this isn't about them, it's about me. Not in a self-blaming way, but in a self-liberating one. Because once you see the story behind the trigger, you are no longer trapped in it. You can write a new one. That's how emotional mastery begins. Not by forcing yourself to feel nothing, but by learning to see everything more clearly, especially what's been hiding beneath the surface all along. 2. Listen to your body before you. Listen to your emotions. Your body knows before your mind does. Before you say, "I'm angry," your fists are clenched and your jaw is tight. Before you can admit, "I feel anxious," your chest has already grown heavy, your breath shallow. Before you recognize sadness, your shoulders are slumped and your eyes are slow to blink. The body speaks first. But most of us have never been taught to listen. We're conditioned to live in our heads, analyze everything with logic, override our instincts, and dismiss the quiet whispers coming from within. But emotions don't appear out of nowhere. They start in the body, long before they reach your thoughts. Anger might arrive as heat in your face or a pounding in your chest. Anxiety can feel like butterflies or a fist in your stomach. Grief? It weighs on your entire frame like gravity just got stronger. These are not random sensations. They are messages. And if you learn to interpret them, you gain access to one of the greatest tools of emotional self-mastery. Imagine this. Instead of snapping at someone when tension rises, you pause because you noticed your jaw tightening first. Instead of spiraling into panic, you feel your breath quicken and choose to slow it down instead. Instead of reacting, you respond. This is what it means to live in alignment, not just mentally aware, but physically attuned. The Stoics spoke about observing the mind from a distance. Today, we must take it further. Observe the body too. Because emotional storms don't begin in the mind, they're born in the body. Start with a simple practice. Place your hand on your chest when emotions rise. Scan your body from head to toe. Ask, what am I feeling physically right now, and what might it be trying to tell me? You don't need to fix it. You just need to notice it. That small act of awareness, of tuning into your internal signals, creates a sacred pause. And in that pause, you move from being a slave to your instincts to becoming a conscious, centered force of clarity and control. 3. Create the pause, the gateway to inner freedom. Between stimulus and response, there is a sacred pause. And in that pause lies your greatest power, the power to choose, to redirect, to remain untouchable. Most people go through life like a spring-loaded trap. Someone says something rude? Snap. A delay happens? Rage. A disappointment arises? Collapse. It's instant, unthinking, automatic. But the Stoics lived differently. They trained themselves to notice the trigger, then breathe. To recognize the wave, then step back. To replace impulse with intention. Because that pause, the moment between what happens and how you respond, is not empty. It's everything. It's the space where emotional mastery begins, where chaos is interrupted, where clarity enters. You don't need a full minute of meditation. You don't need to walk away or vanish into silence. You only need a breath. Just one breath is enough to break the chain reaction. That moment of presence changes everything. Instead of snapping back in defense, you breathe. Instead of throwing blame, you reflect. Instead of reacting from your pain, you respond from your values. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that how that reaction is always forged in the pause. Of course, it won't be easy at first. Your nervous system is trained to be fast, to fight or flee. But you can rewire it slowly with repetition. Each time you pause, you train your mind. We don't have to explode. We can breathe first. We can think first. We can choose. In time, this becomes your default. Not because the world gets easier, but because you've grown stronger. The storms still come, but you've built shelter within yourself. So the next time tension rises, don't rush. Don't speak. Don't act. Just pause. One breath. 1 second of awareness. One decision that can shift the entire course of a conversation, a relationship, or even your future. In that pause, you stop being a product of the world and start becoming the master of yourself. 4. Practice mindfulness in the ordinary. Find peace where you are. When people hear the word mindfulness, they often imagine monks on mountaintops or silent retreats in the forest. But true mindfulness isn't about escaping your life. It's about fully entering it. It's not about silence. It's about presence. It's not something sacred and distant. It's right here. In the way you drink your morning coffee, in the way you respond to your child, in the way you walk from one room to another. The Stoics didn't use the word mindfulness, but they practiced it deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Do what's in front of you with full seriousness and attention." That's all mindfulness is. To be here, now, fully. Without rushing to the next thought, the next task, the next escape. But most of us live in a fog. We eat without tasting. We listen without hearing. We speak without thinking. We scroll endlessly, numb to the moment we're actually in. Mindfulness is the cure to that numbness. It's how we reclaim our life from autopilot. So how do we begin? You start small. When you eat, just eat. Notice the flavors, the textures, the movement. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. When you speak, slow down. Choose your words like each one carries weight. Because it does. The power of mindfulness is not just about peace. It's about precision. It's about knowing what you're feeling before that feeling controls you. It's about catching the flicker of anger before it becomes a wildfire. The twinge of jealousy before it poisons your day. The seed of sadness before it becomes a storm. You don't need more time. You need more presence in the time you already have. Mindfulness doesn't require a new lifestyle. It asks you to bring new life to what you're already doing. And with time, something beautiful happens. Ordinary moments become sacred. Simple actions become powerful. And you, without changing anything outside, become deeply, quietly alive inside. The most peaceful life is not one without chaos. It's one where you're fully present enough to meet the chaos with clarity. 5. Develop deep self-awareness. See yourself without the lies. Most people don't live with themselves. They live in reaction to themselves. They get angry and don't know why. They feel anxious but can't trace the root. They sabotage good things and call it fate. That's what happens when you don't know your own mind. True self-awareness isn't about watching yourself in the mirror. It's about watching yourself in motion, in the middle of failure, conflict, insecurity, and fear. It's not about perfection. It's about precision. When you feel a surge of jealousy, do you know where it comes from? When you lash out in irritation, do you ask what part of you was really threatened? Most people don't talk. They either justify it or drown in guilt. But the Stoic path teaches neither. Instead, it teaches you to observe with honesty and humility. Marcus Aurelius wrote pages of personal reflections not to show the world, but to hold a mirror to himself. When you arise in the morning, he said, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. But he also wrote of his own impatience, his anger, his flaws. That's not weakness. That's real strength. Because you can't transform what you refuse to see. So how do you start? Begin by asking, what emotion is dominating me right now? What triggered it? What story am I telling myself beneath it all? Then go deeper. What does this reveal about my beliefs? What am I afraid of losing or proving? Write it down. No filter, no edit. Journaling isn't for pretty thoughts. It's for honest ones. The more you name your patterns, the less power they have. The more you see your blind spots, the less they control you. Self-awareness is uncomfortable at first. It forces you to admit hard truths, that you avoid conflict, that you seek validation, that you wear masks. But there's a quiet liberation in that truth. Because when you see yourself clearly, no one can use your weaknesses against you. You stop being a mystery to yourself, and you start becoming your own guide. That's how mastery begins, not through self-criticism, but through self-clarity. 6. Label and accept your emotions. Name the storm to survive it. You cannot master what you refuse to name. Most people walk through life emotionally blind. They say, I'm fine, when they're falling apart. They call it tiredness, when it's grief. They say, I'm just stressed, when it's fear clawing at their chest. But every emotion has a name, and when you name it, you shrink its shadow. This is anger. This is envy. This is sadness. This is shame. When you label the emotion clearly, you create distance from it. You step out of the storm and into awareness. You stop being the emotion and start witnessing it. That's the first step to freedom. The Stoics never told you to suppress your feelings. They told you to understand them so they wouldn't rule you. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." What he meant is this: if you don't face the truth of your emotional world, it becomes your master. If you deny what you feel, it doesn't disappear. It hides and festers and controls you from the dark. So, you must first see the emotion and then accept it. Acceptance doesn't mean surrender. It doesn't mean you like the emotion or that it defines you. It simply means you stop pretending it isn't there. Because fighting what's already present is like screaming at the rain. It doesn't make the storm stop. It only exhausts you. Imagine treating emotions like weather. You don't argue with them. You prepare for them. You observe them, and you wait for them to pass. You might feel anger today. That doesn't make you a bad person. You might feel envy, sadness, pride, or fear. That doesn't mean you're weak. it means you're human. You're alive. You feel. But when you name the emotion and meet it with calm acknowledgement, you disarm it. You don't become cold or emotionless. You become grounded, rooted, aware. And awareness is always the first step toward conscious response. So the next time a wave hits, pause, breathe, and whisper, "I see you. You're here. But you don't get to control me." That's not weakness. That's wisdom. 7. Reframe negative thoughts. Rewrite the story before it breaks you. The story you tell yourself becomes the life you live. You failed at something? Your mind says, "You're a failure." Someone rejected you? Your mind whispers, "You're unlovable." You make one mistake and suddenly you're convinced you always ruin everything. Sound familiar? That's not truth. That's the default voice of a brain wired for survival, not peace. But here's the secret. You don't have to believe everything you think. You can challenge the story. You can rewrite the script. The Stoics taught this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And what determines your reaction? Your interpretation. Not the event, but the meaning you assign to it. That's where your power lives. Imagine this. You send a message. No reply. Your mind says, "They're ignoring me. I must have said something wrong. I'm not important." But another version exists. Maybe they're busy. Maybe their phone died. Maybe it has nothing to do with you. One version imprisons you. The other sets you free. Reframing is not toxic positivity. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's the skill of seeing more than one possibility and choosing the one that empowers you. Here's how to begin. 1. Notice the negative thought. "I always mess things up." 2. Call it out. Wait. Is that true? Or is it just a pattern? 3. Ask, what's a wiser way to see this? I made a mistake, but I'm learning. This doesn't define me. Each time you do this, you reclaim your narrative. You stop letting your mind be a critic and start turning it into a coach. Over time, your inner world transforms. You don't spiral as easily. You don't fall into the trap of worst-case scenarios. You begin to see failure as a lesson, rejection as redirection, delay as preparation. That's the power of reframing. It's how you go from victim to author, from reaction to reflection, from chaos to clarity. So the next time your mind tries to trap you in a dark thought, ask, what else could be true? What would a stronger version of me believe right now? Then believe that, and live from it. 8. Practice empathy and compassion for others and for yourself. Strength is not coldness. It's not emotional detachment. It's not building a wall so thick that nothing ever touches you. True strength is the courage to stay open, to feel and still choose kindness, to understand and still set boundaries, to soften without breaking. Empathy begins when you realize that everyone is fighting a battle you cannot see. The rudeness from a stranger, maybe it's pain. The silence from a friend, maybe it's fear. The betrayal from someone you trusted, maybe it wasn't malice but confusion, trauma, or weakness. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it shifts your response from reactive to reflective. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles this one? Empathy isn't surrender. It's strategy. When you understand others better, you stop letting their behavior control your peace. And while empathy for others is difficult, compassion for yourself is often harder. We forgive our friends. We comfort strangers. But ourselves? One mistake and we launch a war within. I shouldn't have done that. I always mess this up. I'm not good enough. But what if you spoke to yourself the way you speak to someone you love? What if, when you fell short, you said, that wasn't my best, but I'm still worthy. I failed today, but I'm learning. That's not weakness. That's emotional maturity. Because compassion doesn't remove accountability, it fuels it. It gives you the courage to grow without the shame that usually paralyzes progress. Seneca wrote, "No man becomes great all at once. Growth takes time, grace, patience." So when someone disappoints you, pause. When you disappoint yourself, breathe. Then ask, what pain might this person be carrying? What can I learn from this moment? Empathy makes you stronger with others. Compassion makes you safer within yourself. Together, they build a life of quiet resilience. A life where you no longer explode in judgment, but respond with understanding even when it's hard. Because in the end, the most powerful person in the room is not the loudest, not the most unshaken, but the one who remains open-hearted without losing their center. 9. Take full responsibility for your reactions. Reclaim the power you gave away. There's a silent line between what happens to you and what you do next. Most people never cross it. They spend their entire lives stuck in the space of blame. It's their fault I feel this way. He made me angry. This ruined my day. But the moment you say those words, you hand over your power. The Stoics refused to live like that. Epictetus taught, "We are not disturbed by events, but by the views we take of them." That view, the judgment, the interpretation, the reaction, is yours. Which means the power is also yours. Taking full responsibility doesn't mean you excuse others' bad behavior. It doesn't mean you pretend betrayal doesn't hurt. It means you decide, I will not let their actions decide my internal weather. That's radical freedom. Because as long as you blame others for your reactions, you stay trapped. Trapped in waiting for apologies that may never come. Trapped in hoping people will change before you can feel peace. But when you take responsibility, everything changes. You stop saying, they made me feel this way. And you start saying, I chose how to respond, and I can choose differently. You begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. It's not easy. You'll still feel anger, still feel hurt, still feel the sting of disappointment. But now, you'll own your process. You'll catch yourself sooner. Breathe deeper, step back faster, and respond from strength, not story. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, faced betrayal, plague and pressure, and still reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply chooses again and again to respond with wisdom, not impulse. So today, ask yourself, where have I blamed others for my peace? What emotional reactions am I still outsourcing? Where can I take back control, not of the world, but of myself? Because that's where unshakable confidence begins. In the radical act of saying, this is mine to carry, and I choose how. 10. Let go of ego, pride, and grudges. The weight is not worth carrying. You are not tired, you are heavy. And the weight you're carrying isn't always stress. It's ego. It's pride. It's old grudges you refuse to put down. We often think strength is about holding on, holding our ground, holding the argument, holding the pain. But sometimes real strength is the quiet decision to let go. Let go of needing to be right. Let go of needing the last word. Let go of proving something to people who aren't even listening. The ego whispers, you can't let them win. Pride says, they need to know how much they hurt you. The grudge insists, never forget what they did. But the Stoics saw through this illusion. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, will you be angry with the world as if the world would notice? That bitterness you hold, it doesn't protect you. It poisons you. You replay the insult. You rehearse the comeback. But while you're trapped in that mental loop, they've moved on, and your peace is what's paying the price. Letting go doesn't mean you approve. It means you refuse to let the past dictate who you are becoming. Forgiveness doesn't mean weakness. It means you choose freedom over fury. When you release the ego, you become unshakable, because you no longer need constant validation. You no longer collapse when you're criticized. You no longer cling to narratives that keep you stuck. When you let go of pride, you can apologize without shame. You can disagree without hate. You can walk away from drama not because you're afraid to fight, but because you don't need to. And when you let go of grudges, you reclaim your energy. Energy to build, to grow, to live. So ask yourself today, what anger am I still holding? What identity am I still protecting with pride? What would happen if I chose peace instead of proving a point? Because in the end, you don't need to be right. You need to be free. 11. Set boundaries with clarity. Protect your peace without apology. There's a quiet kind of power in knowing where you end and someone else begins. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges with gates. They don't shut people out. They show others how to treat you and how to walk beside you without walking all over you. But let's be honest, many of us were taught to feel guilty for saying no. We fear being seen as selfish, rude, difficult. So we stretch ourselves thin. We say yes when we mean no. We stay silent when our peace is screaming for space. But the Stoics knew, you are responsible for your inner world, and you cannot protect it without protecting your time, energy, and mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." That's what boundaries are, not control over others, but control over yourself. To set boundaries, you must first get honest. What drains you? What strengthens you? Where do you betray yourself to avoid disappointing others? Clarity is power. And once you know your limits, speak them with calm conviction. I'm not available after this hour. I need space to recharge. I need space to recharge. I won't continue this conversation if it turns disrespectful. You don't need to defend or explain your needs. You only need to honor them. Yes, some people will push back, especially those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. But how they react is not your responsibility. How you uphold your peace is. And here's the hardest truth. Your boundaries mean nothing if you keep breaking them for yourself. If you say you won't work past 9 p.m., but you do. If you say you'll take a rest day, but you feel guilty and overbook. Self-trust is built in those micro-decisions. When you keep your word to yourself, others begin to follow. So today, draw the line. Not from fear, not from anger, but from self-respect. Because the most peaceful life is not conflict-free. It's a life where you know your worth and act like it. 12. Manage stress and anxiety with tools, not just willpower. Stress isn't weakness. Anxiety isn't failure. They are signals, not sentences. Signals that something needs your attention, that a boundary has been crossed, that a belief is being challenged, that your body is overwhelmed. And the solution is not to tough it out or just calm down. The solution is to equip yourself with tools that work when your mind doesn't. The Stoics lived in times of war, exile, and political chaos. But they didn't chase comfort. They cultivated inner resilience. Marcus Aurelius didn't escape hardship. He trained his mind to meet it. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Here's how you begin to build that kind of strength. 1. Control your breath. When anxiety spikes, logic shuts down. But breath is your anchor. Try this. Inhale 4 seconds. Hold 4 seconds. Exhale 6 seconds. Repeat. This isn't magic. It's biology. It tells your nervous system, I'm safe. I can slow down. 2. Move your body. Stress is energy. If it has nowhere to go, it turns inward into anxiety, tightness, burnout. A 10-minute walk, a stretch, a workout. Move the energy through you, not against you. 3. Write it out. When your mind feels like a storm, journaling clears the fog. Don't try to sound wise, just get the noise out of your head and onto the page. 4. Simplify. Most anxiety isn't caused by a single task, it's the pile of unfinished ones. So stop. Breathe. Ask, what is the one next right thing? Do that. Let the rest wait. 5. Ask for support. Even the Stoics had each other. Seneca exchanged letters with friends, seeking wisdom. You are not weak for needing help. You are wise for seeking it. The goal isn't to eliminate stress. It's to build habits that keep you steady when stress visits. Because storms will come, but with the right tools, you don't get swept away. You stay grounded, focused, calm. That's not luck. That's mental discipline built one breath, one step, one choice at a time. 13. Embrace imperfection. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Perfection is a trap. It whispers, once you fix every flaw, then you'll be enough. Once you stop failing, then you'll be worthy. Once you become perfect, then you'll finally be at peace. But the truth? That day never comes. Because perfection isn't a destination, it's a prison. And it keeps you from living the life you already deserve. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, confessed in his private journals his anger, his fatigue, his doubts. He didn't hide them. He observed them. And then he kept going. Seneca said, "No man becomes great all at once. Growth is not clean. It's not linear. It's messy. It's relapse and recovery. It's progress hidden inside what looks like failure. And yet we beat ourselves up over every stumble. We expect to be strong all the time, disciplined all the time, clear all the time. That's not strength. That's self-abuse disguised as self-improvement. Real strength is this. You fall. You reflect. You rise with more clarity than before. So when you lose your temper, when you miss the mark, when you say the thing you swore you wouldn't, don't spiral into shame. Instead, say, this is part of my path, not a detour, not a disqualification, just the path. Because self-compassion is not an excuse, it's fuel. It gives you the courage to keep going, especially when the old you would have quit. Try this. When you mess up, whisper, I'm still learning. When you feel broken, remind yourself, I'm still becoming. When you doubt your worth, say, I'm not perfect, but I'm present. And that's enough. The cracks in you are not weaknesses. They are entry points for light, humility, and wisdom. You don't need to arrive. You only need to keep showing up fully, honestly, imperfectly. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who are real. People who fall and rise with heart. People like you. 14. Develop a growth mindset and emotional balance. Become adaptable, not unbreakable. You weren't meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve, to learn, to fall, adapt, and rise stronger, clearer, wiser. This is the essence of the growth mindset. Who I am today is not who I must remain tomorrow. The Stoics lived by this truth. They never saw virtue as a destination, but as a direction. Marcus Aurelius didn't write because he had it all figured out. He wrote to remind himself, I can still be better. I can still choose wisely. I can still respond with strength. That's the mindset of a Stoic, not perfection, but progress. And along with this mindset, you must cultivate something equally powerful. Emotional balance. Not suppression. Not numbness. But the ability to feel deeply without being ruled by those feelings. Emotional balance is what lets you feel anger, but pause before you speak. Feel fear, but still take action. Feel sadness, but not drown in it. It's not about eliminating emotion. It's about learning to hold it without losing your center. Imagine two trees in a storm. One is rigid, it cracks under pressure. The other bends, flexes, moves with the wind, but doesn't break. Be like the second tree. Adaptable, not unshakable, not untouchable, but alive, aware, and anchored. A growth mindset lets you see challenges as teachers, not punishments. It asks, what is this here to teach me? What strength in me is being called forward? How can I emerge better, not bitter? When you stop fearing failure and start respecting it, your life begins to expand. You stop living in fear of mistakes. You stop waiting to feel ready. And you start growing into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Remember, you are a work in progress. But you are not behind. You are becoming, and that becoming is your power. So stay humble, stay grounded, but never stop rising, because the path of growth never ends. And emotional balance is the compass that guides you forward with clarity, courage, and calm. Conclusion. You don't need to be perfect, just be conscious. Every time you pause instead of react, you grow stronger. Every time you breathe instead of explode, you reclaim your power. Freedom isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to feel fully without being controlled. You don't need to be made of steel. You just need to stand firm, even when the storm is inside you. If this journey spoke to something within you, keep practicing, slowly, quietly, consistently, and each day you'll move closer to the kind of inner freedom no one can take from you. Like, subscribe, and comment below. I choose presence over reaction. Let's walk this path together.